Today's job is to fix this post that was installed badly by the builder. So this post actually stops right there. It doesn't actually go into the ground. It has the having strength. So of course the cows whacked into it and just broke the concrete. And now this post is all wiggly. So the farmer wanted a support this way, bolted through the wall, and a support this way, bolted through this wall. So that's what we're working on. What I'm trying to do on the inside to brace these blocks so they don't get broken. So I just got to make sure I drill my holes like way back here. My brace is only probably going to have one bolt. So all I need to do is have the illusion of perfection. So this is 1/2 inch all thread. I drill a 3/4 inch hole through this channel. So that gives me wiggle room. Because the only thing your eye is going to catch is this line. So if I can wiggle it and get it parallel with that line, it won't matter that it's a little bit off in other places. You'll never know. Same thing out here. I left swapping these holes. Now I've got a little bit of tension on those bolts, so I can just tap this until your eye thinks that it's straight. Because even if these holes are a little bit, even if these aren't perfectly centered, which these are pretty close to center, it's this line that your eye's going to catch. All right, we're back at the shop. That repair was done with 7018. So I was using a 3/32 rod uphill at about 75 amps. So we're going to reenact that here with the engine drive. So here's the restart, and you want to start ahead of where you're welding. So in this case, above where you're welding, and then bring it down into where you stopped. So I'm just using a gentle side-to-side action, slight pause on the sides, because we're running a smaller rod at 75 amps. That's helping to control the undercut. I'm also trying to keep a good rod angle, and that also helps with the undercut. Okay, you can see it's not perfect, but usually on a 332 rod, I prop really close with my other hand when I first start, which I couldn't do for the camera. So this is how I would normally weld this joint. Usually when you first strike,
a 332 rod, it has a little bit of a bounce to it, and it's hard to control it. And as you can see, properly propping makes for less lumps. There's where we started, welding around the camera, and up the top there is welding with the camera out of the way and propping with my left hand. Okay, so if you need to do a second pass, here's the second pass. We're just going to pause at the edges, go straight across, pause, back across, pause, back across. And if we do this consistently, we'll have a nice, consistent size weld and a nice straight weld. Sometimes it's hard to keep your weld the same width as you do this. So usually if you go about half the diameter of your rod past the first weld, it'll help you keep it running straight. Same thing here. Let's get the camera out of the way, and you can see how I would do it normally. So I'm going to start by holding the rod real close, propping it, and then as I move up, I'm not trying to maintain that slight uphill push rod angle, just a little bit. If you try to keep it straight in, you usually end up slightly uphill. It's usually hard to restart a 7018 because you can see that flux is in the way, so if you break that off with your thumb or a piece of metal or a file or something, it'll make it a lot easier to restart.